back with another update to our 366 movie challenge. I'm Adam.
And I'm Emily.
This is Does It Hold Up? And we did do a challenge this year. We were going to watch one new movie every single day for the entire calendar year. Why is it 366? Well, that's because it's a leap year, so we got that extra day in there. And it's actually a lot harder than you think. We are trying to find movies that neither one of us have ever seen before, whether it came out in 1972 or whether it came out in 2023. Doesn't really matter. But you might think, there's millions of movies out there, it should be super easy. Yeah, you'd think that, but I don't want to spend 2 hours watching an absolute garbage movie. So we're trying to find ones that are actually interesting, or at least we think are going to be pretty good.
It really doesn't help that he's seen like 2,000 movies just off the bat.
More than that. Way more than that. 2,000 is only the ones I can remember. So, we challenge ourselves to watch all these movies, and every single month we bring you a video breaking down what we watched over the last month and our star ratings from Letterboxd. If you're on Letterboxd, you can follow us by clicking the links in the description of this video. Come give us a follow so you can see what we've been watching throughout the month. Let's go ahead and get started with the first movie we watched in March 2024. It was a Netflix movie called Orion and the Dark. It came out this year, 2024. It's the story of a kid who's telling the story of how he was afraid of the dark, but then he made friends with the darkness who took him on a wild adventure. But it's not really him telling the story, it's his adult self telling the story to a kid who's telling the story to another kid who just... It's a very complicated movie. And it shouldn't be for a family-friendly movie, which is why I only gave it 2.5 stars.
I only gave it 1.5 stars because it had a great premise, but all that convolution just really made you lose the plot.
It would have been a lot cooler if it was just like a straightforward story of, I made friends with the dark.
Exactly.
Yeah, they got a little too weird with it, so meh.
Then we watched Thanksgiving. This is the story that we were so excited to watch and just never got around to watching it. Finally did. Bad things happened at a Black Friday sale, and now a serial killer is come back to seek revenge, basically.
Came out in 2023.
Yes.
So it's a newer movie. What do you think?
I thought it was a little too gory for my liking. It was definitely very... Woo. I gave it 2 stars because of that, but I can see why someone would give it more.
I gave it 3 stars. It's an Eli Roth movie. You know exactly what you're getting the minute you turn the movie on. Apparently not.
I did not.
I thought it was actually a lot of fun. The people in the movie were just having a blast. They were giving it their all, and just, what a joyride. Beginning to end, brutal murders, ridiculous storylines. It all takes place at Thanksgiving. We need more Thanksgiving movies. We don't have that many. So this might be a yearly watch come the holiday now. So I went and gave it 3 stars. Then we watched a movie called Players. It was, I believe, on like Netflix or Hulu, one of those two. It came out this year, 2024. It's about a group of friends who basically, if you've ever seen How I Met Your Mother, Barney Stinson has his playbook of how he picks up women. This entire movie is basically that. They run plays on unsuspecting people so that they can hook up, but then one of them falls in love.
She wants to settle down.
But they still run plays on this guy that she wants to settle down with. So they all suck. They're actually terrible fucking people that you do not care about watching this entire movie. Therefore, I only gave it 0.5 stars.
I gave it 1 star. The less said about this movie, the better.
Yeah.
Then we went on to watch Freelance, another new-ish movie of a former military man turned freelancer who has to protect a journalist from the cartel. I actually had a lot of fun with this movie. I gave it 3 stars. I had a lot of fun.
It stars John Cena and Alison Brie. Alison Brie, the entire time, looked like she couldn't be bothered. She was like, whatever, I'm in a movie, I'm getting paid, I'm just going to do whatever. John Cena, though, is out there just crushing it, as he normally does, and he actually makes the movie super enjoyable to watch. I wish it was a different actress in the movie, but overall, like, it's just a good time. It's lost in the jungle, fighting, shooting, John Cena being ridiculous, and the relationship building between him and not Alison Brie, but the man who plays the country's leader, who is not a good guy, but maybe he is. The way they form a relationship throughout the entire movie makes it worth watching. but I still only gave it 2 stars because there was a lot of just messy stuff going on.
That's fair. To be honest, that cartel leader guy ended up stealing the show a lot for me.
100%. And then we went to the theater and we checked out Dune Part 2. This is the second chapter of the Dune series starring Timothée Chalamet, boo, Zendaya, more boo, and she didn't know this was a second part only. She thought this was the conclusion of the movie. I knew it was only going to be a second part, but it was probably the worst part, the worst version of a second part, where it was like, we're going to give you a 2.5-hour movie, but really we only gave you an hour worth of story and then we filled it in with, ooh, sand. I don't like sand. It's coarse.
Gets everywhere.
It gets everywhere. So I ended up only giving Dune Part 2 3.5 stars because it is a beautiful movie and I'm looking forward to the next chapter.
I gave it 2 stars. Like he said, I didn't know it was a 2 out of 3 sort of deal. So I was like, are we getting anywhere? It doesn't end? Are you kidding me? That pissed me off. It is very pretty to look at though, and the sound design is wonderful.
Ooh, my extra 1.5 stars over hers is just because Austin Butler is amazing.
Oh,
He's
what got it 2 stars for me.
They should have made the whole movie about his character and I would have been a lot happier.
Yes. Then we went on to watch Babysitter Must Die from 2021. This is about a babysitter who's basically at the wrong place at the wrong time when cultists come and try and murder this family, basically.
Or, hear me out, the right place at the right time.
That is fair.
Because if it wasn't for her, that whole family's dead.
Yeah.
And a cult is taking over the world. So...
Yeah. This was a very bad movie. I gave it 1.5 stars because I liked the idea of these cultists and what they were doing. I was intrigued by them, but it doesn't pay anything off and it's just not worth your time.
I gave it 2 stars. And that seems a little high.
Yeah.
But it's because I absolutely loved the cult members and everything they were doing. And the fact that they kept being like, she was a Girl Scout. That's how she knows how to do these fights and how she kills all the members of this cult. She was a Girl Scout. So I'm like, this is the best promotional material to ever be a Girl Scout in history. Every little girl should watch this movie. It would be great. 2 stars. Next, we watched The Fundamentals of Caring from 2016, starring Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd movie I had never seen before, so that was kind of interesting. He is an at-home care nurse for a young man in a wheelchair, and the young man wants to go on a grand adventure to see ridiculous shit across the country, like the biggest cow.
Yep.
And the world's deepest pit. So they set out on a journey, they pick up a hitchhiker along the way, 2 of them actually, and they just form a bond. It's one of those feel-good movies of like, you're just interested in the characters and their story, and therefore you are entertained by the movie.
I absolutely loved this movie because of that character building, and Paul Rudd has chemistry with everyone. So
we have literally seen Paul Rudd have chemistry with Paul Rudd.
Exactly. So I gave this one 4 stars. I loved it. I thought it was a great message and everything.
Yeah, I loved it as well. Not as much as her. I went and gave it 3 stars.
Then we went on to watch Kung Fu Panda 4 from 2024. Basically, Po is told that he can't be the Dragon Warrior anymore, so he has to find a replacement. And this chameleon baddie is like, I'm going to steal everyone's powers. Mwahaha. That's pretty much all you can say about it.
And there's a fox.
There is a fox, unfortunately done by
Awkwafina,
who's in everything now. Love her, but
she's
you're in too much.
She's the new Kevin Hart. She's going to be in everything for the next 5 years. We're all going to get sick of her. She's going to end up doing crappy movies like Lift on Netflix that nobody watched because it was absolutely garbage.
Except us.
And then we told you last month that it was absolutely garbage, so hopefully you didn't watch it. Yeah, Kung Fu Panda 4 was a huge letdown for me. I know it's still in theaters. It's still making a lot of money. People seem to be enjoying it. I thought it was a very unnecessary movie. I also thought the movie was too much of a handhold of like, hey, we really want to continue the Kung Fu Panda franchise, but we can't just keep talking about Po. So we're going to bring you a new character that we can kind of transition to. And the whole movie's premise is about that transition. So it was like, you're not clever, studio. It's kind of stupid. And the fox was awful.
Yeah. It's basically just saying you can't afford Jack Black anymore.
Yep. So 2.5 stars.
2.5 stars.
Imaginary. A horror movie from 2024. All about abandonment issues. Your best friend, your imaginary best friend when you were little, has feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And gets angry when you start forgetting about them. This movie was absolutely trash. Hated it. It wasn't scary. There was nothing interesting about it. They totally cheaped out on the imaginary world that they could go into. I gave it 2 stars.
I gave it half a star. I was pissed because you have so much you can work with and you just didn't. And it pissed me off. Next, we watch Ricky Stenicki from 2024. Basically, friends lie about another imaginary friend, basically, to be able to do whatever they want or get away with whatever they want. And they're basically caught in that lie. So they have to hire someone to be Ricky Stenicki. Another John Cena movie. I had a lot of fun with this movie. I gave it 3 stars. I thought it could have been better, but I wasn't mad with what I got.
I will second that. 3 stars as well. I think you said it really well. I enjoyed what I got. I just could have used more and could have used better. But it still was good.
Mm-hmm.
The Open House from 2018. A young man who moves with his mother into a house that's up for sale because his father was killed and now weird stuff is happening in the house. Yeah, I mean, it's a horror movie that's not really a horror movie. It's more of like a thriller, and every single character makes probably the dumbest decisions that they could possibly make ever. And the only saving grace is the end. I'm not going to spoil it here, but it is unexpected for a horror movie. With that said, I only gave it half a star.
I gave it 1 star because of that ending. And that's it. Arthur the King is what we saw next, 2024 again. A lot of newer movies this month. We tried to do better. This is basically all about how we don't deserve dogs. A guy is doing a race, one of those adventure races, and he comes across a dog, and the dog becomes part of the team. Good feelings all around. I enjoyed it. I thought it could have been more, or at least told in a better way, so I only gave it 3 stars, but I do love dog stories.
Any movie that is like, go get a dog, love the dog, treat the dog right, we don't deserve dogs, will automatically get 3 stars from me. So I gave this one 3 stars because everything else around the dog, I don't think really worked that well. Simu Liu is not a good actor, and every time he was on my screen, I was like, skip, fast forward. Mark Wahlberg is pretty good in this movie. He's always better in those roles. We talked about this before with another movie we watched of his this year, The Family Plan. When he's doing like action-y stuff, but there's like this comedy undertone to it, he's always better in those roles, and that's kind of what this is. But he couldn't hold up in the dramatic moments when he really had to like act. So that's why it only got 3 stars. They are all for the dog. Damsel, Netflix, 2024, Millie Bobby Brown, her big, huge, look at me, I'm an actress now. No, ma'am, you are not. This movie is a medieval story about a young woman who gets thrown into a pit and has to fight a dragon, because the dragon kills everybody in part of this particular bloodline. The description of the movie is way better than the actual movie ended up being. Millie Bobby Brown is not a good actress. Nope. She cannot carry an entire movie by herself. She is okay when she is in a group setting, but after watching Enola Holmes, and still haven't watched Enola Holmes 2, that'll probably be for next month's video, and this movie, she's just not convincing, and I need to turn it off.
Yeah. I gave it 1.5 stars because I liked the story. I liked the fantasy, the whole basically twist that they have with this dragon. Mm-hmm. So I enjoyed that. But yeah, Millie Bobby Brown just ruined it for me.
I forgot to say that I gave it half a star because dragons are cool.
And I don't think you can give it 0 stars.
No, you can, but
you can?
It has a dragon in it, so it has to have at least a grade of some kind. That's it.
Then we watch a Dream Scenario from 2023. Basically, everyone just starts dreaming about weird Nick Cage. I liked the concept of it. So I gave it 3 stars, but I thought it went a little too far towards the end.
Yeah, this was a great 3/4 of a movie where you were like, I'm super invested in the characters. What the hell's going on? This is such an interesting story. And then it completely fumbles the ball and fails. It literally doesn't cross the finish line. It comes so ever close and then collapses under the weight of what it had already set up to the point that it can no longer continue.
Mm-hmm.
So I gave it 3 stars because, 3/4 of the movie is good. So 3 stars.
There you go.
My mind works in weird ways, but that's how it goes. Another Netflix movie, Leave the World Behind, from 2023, starring Julia Roberts and Mahershala Ali. Love them both.
Mm-hmm.
But basically this whole movie is Julia Roberts is a racist, and the world is ending, and she needs to not be a racist so that they can survive. Right? Like, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
That is a good part of the movie, yeah.
That is a huge portion of this movie. Oh, and a little girl wants to watch Friends.
Yeah, the last episode of Friends.
1.5 stars. It was just too long. A very interesting movie. I thought if they trimmed about 30, 40 minutes of this movie and really compacted this story, it would have played a lot better. But there was so much downtime that I lost interest in what was actually happening.
I gave it 2.5 stars because I liked how almost realistic it would be to have so much of the world just be completely taken down and you don't know what's going on. And so you're kind of trying to keep normal, but things are definitely not normal. I liked that, and I thought the acting was pretty good.
Well, I mean, yeah. You have 2 great actors. Of course the acting is going to be good.
So 2.5.
2.5.
Next was Malevolent from 2018. This is a story of fake ghost hunters who can actually see ghosts, and then they actually see ghosts, and the ghosts are
friendly. They're Casper.
Yeah, pretty much. But the people who brought them to see the ghosts are not.
No, they are not. It stars Florence Pugh.
Yeah.
Somewhat of a bonus, maybe.
I gave it 2 stars. Once again, so much going for it, it just didn't do enough.
I also gave it 2 stars. I feel like the movie relied very heavily on, wait, Florence Pugh's like really popular, so she's in it, so people will probably watch it. And yeah, it tricked us. We watched it because she was in it. But then they failed at the base level of writing a decent script that actually made any sense.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I only gave it 2 stars as well because I love the idea of it. The execution is where it completely fell apart.
Yeah.
Just
already laughing.
We're just gonna blow past this one real quick. All Fun and Games from 2023, a horror movie about a kid ghost who likes playing games, and if you lose the game, he kills you. Basically, hide and seek is dangerous. Don't play it. 0.5 star.
I gave it 1 star. I thought part of it was kind of interesting.
Yep, Red Rover, skip right over.
The Friendship Game from 2022. This is all about a little thing like that tests your friendship, basically, by being like, hey, tell us your deepest secrets, and then we're going to test you, and if you succeed, yay! If you don't, you die. But I gave it 2 stars. Once again, I liked the concept. I thought it was interesting playing with time and how it wraps together towards the end. It's a slog to get through, but when you get to the end, you're like, oh, I see what you did there.
It had too much dumb shit happening in it for me to actually care. The ending was kind of interesting, but the way they got there, the journey sucked. And, sometimes it's about the journey, not the destination. Mm-hmm. And this movie just didn't know that. But I also love the idea of just friendships have to last forever. I'm not friends with anybody I was friends with in high school. Are you kidding me? Junior high, whatever. Like, a lot of those friendships end. Let me know in the comments below. Are you still friends with the people that you were friends with in high school? Because this movie makes it seem like if you aren't, you're a terrible person.
Mm-hmm.
Stay friends forever. 0.5 star. Couldn't deal with it. Except for Peyton List. I think she's a great actress. She has a hell of a career ahead of her. So, good job. Roadhouse. Insert Family Guy clip. No. This stars Jake Gyllenhaal in a remake of the 80s movie starring Patrick Swayze, also called Roadhouse, where he is a bouncer at a bar where bar fights happen nightly. and probably like more than once a night. And some evil dude wants to like burn the bar to the ground to build a condo because he's cliche as hell. Performances in this movie are really good, except for Conor McGregor, who was just in a completely different movie.
How dare you?
Not sure what he was doing.
How dare you? I love him in this movie. I needed more of him. He's just off the wall, unhinged.
He doesn't make any sense.
I love it.
But the fight scenes were fun. Jake Gyllenhaal as like the no emotion whatsoever person was just so funny and so good at the same time. 3.5 stars.
I gave it 4 stars. I loved the action. I love Conor McGregor. I loved so much of this movie. It wasn't the best movie, which is why I couldn't give it higher, but 4 stars because I had so much fun with it.
Yep.
Bringing it down, though,
Ugh.
The Royal Hotel. This is from 2023. Basically, just all men suck.
Yep.
Two girls are backpacking through Australia. They go to a hotel to make some money, and nothing happens.
Quite honestly, nothing happens.
They think something's gonna happen, and that's where the tension is. But nothing actually happens. So, 1 star.
1.5 stars. Because the story was terrible, the cinematography was terrible, the directing was terrible, but the performances were brilliant.
Fair.
1.5 stars. Drive Away Dolls, also from 2024. This is about 2 girls, lesbians, who travel down to Florida.
Yeah.
But they have some
Cargo?
Some unique cargo that they find out about. And yeah, I mean, it's lesbians take a road trip with dildos. Great movie.
Will we? Spoilers!
It's fine. You learn that about halfway through the movie. There's no spoilers. I gave it 3 stars because I think the performances, again, were fantastic. It was a lot of, like, weird fun, but Ethan Coen is the one who wrote and directed this, and him and his brother just make these kind of weird-ass movies, and they're usually pretty good, so this one didn't disappoint at all.
I gave it 3 stars. I was expecting a bit more from this movie. I thought it was a little too raunchy while also not being raunchy. It was a lot about sex.
Oh, yeah.
I was not quite expecting that, especially from the trailers. So, yeah, 3 stars for me.
Yeah. Really? Just 3?
Just 3.
Quali didn't do it for you? With her
No.
southern accent?
I loved her accent, though. Like, she can talk to me all day with that accent.
She was fantastic in the movie.
Then we watched Voyagers from 2021. Basically, Lord of the Flies in space. They're traveling to another planet, but in order to get there, you're going to go through several generations. So all these kids are growing up on this spaceship when their one adult figure dies. And then they all fight.
Mystery.
I gave it 3 stars. Once again, premise is better than the actual movie. I thought it did a lot of things well, but it just...
Yeah, there was just something missing about the movie, and I can't quite place my finger on what it was, because on paper, this movie should be excellent.
Mm-hmm.
But then watching the movie, you're like, I don't care about anything that's happening. I don't understand what's happening. These people all are lame and boring, and 2 hours of my life gone. But I did give it 2.5 stars because there's bones there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a good movie in there somewhere. We just need to find it.
Yeah.
Paint. Yep, Paint. That crappy Bob Ross ripoff movie starring Owen Wilson from 2023. Whoever wrote this movie definitely hates Bob Ross. That's all I can say about this movie. 1.5 stars because it was sort of funny.
I gave it 1.5 stars. I thought it would be a decent movie if you did not have the Bob Ross references. You can make him look any other way. You can even have him do the painting thing, but don't have him speak like Bob Ross. Don't have him especially look like Bob Ross.
Mm-hmm.
Just, you were banking on that connection, and yet you didn't make him like Bob Ross as an actual person.
Yep.
Ghostbusters Frozen Empire from 2024.
We have our entire review for this movie on the channel right now. So when you're done watching this video, just go watch that so you can see our full thoughts on it. I gave this one 2 stars.
I gave it 2.5 stars.
Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon City. Oh boy, 2021. This was supposed to be the grand, look it, we can make a good Resident Evil movie. about the actual games. No, you can't. I just didn't care about anything once I saw who they made Leon. It was like, you took Leon, the character everybody knows and loves from the games, and you casted an actor who's a good actor, but he's the exact antithesis of Leon. The way they wrote the character, the way he acted the character, the way he looked, it's nothing like Leon. Therefore, I don't think the people who made this movie actually understood the games, but there was some cool action and other stuff in it as well. 2 stars, but the games, just play the games.
I gave it 1.5 stars because you made Leon a little bitch. But the zombies were kind of cool.
Exactly. 2 stars.
Yeah. Then we watched The Baker from 2022. This is that classic story of a ex-assassin or special agent who's now not doing that but has to come back in for some reason. This time he's a baker.
Ooh, croissants.
It's not good. I gave it 1 star. The action was kind of interesting, but the rest of it, I hated every single character. I didn't care about any of them. So I ended up not caring.
Ron Perlman plays the unassuming guy who is actually assuming. He's great. I could have used more baking.
Yeah.
There wasn't enough baking. 2 stars. A Tourist's Guide to Love. The less said about this movie, the better. A woman is in a 5-year relationship. It fails. She goes on vacation to another country like a week later and ends up falling in love with her tour guide. 5 years. 5-year relationship. And within a week, she's already screwing another dude. Are you kidding me? That is not a rom-com. That is not the basis of any type of movie that should exist. Awful movie. Everything about it was bad. Cinematography, acting, story. Although the guy who played the tour guide was a lot of fun. I did enjoy him, which is why I gave it 2 stars.
I gave it 1.5 stars, basically for that, but none of the characters, once again, it was very unrealistic. It was very, I can't get in on this story because it just makes no sense.
But they are in, where are they? They are in Vietnam.
Yes, and that is very pretty.
Gorgeous to look at.
Always. Then we watch Bob Marley, One Love, 2024. This is the story of Bob Marley. Not entire life or entire career, just like 3 weeks out of 2 years of his life.
It's like 3 years. We cover like 3 years of this man's life. So, 10%.
I gave it 2.5 stars. I don't know Bob Marley's story, and I don't really know it still. And that was a big downer on me, but it was very pretty and very well acted.
Yeah, I gave it 2.5 stars, mostly for the performance of Kingsley Benadir, who plays Bob Marley, because he, although not quite looking like Bob Marley, he definitely took the persona of Bob Marley and brought it to the screen. He felt very real, and so he got 2 stars. And then just because it's about Bob Marley, that's the other 0.5 star from me.
One thing I will say is I kind of wish I put on the captions for this movie. It was a little hard for me to understand, and that could just be a me thing, but...
It wasn't. They mumble a lot, and they have thick Jamaican accents, so it is very hard to understand some of the things that they say.
Yeah.
All right, the final movie that we watched together was a movie that you've never heard of, because I've never heard of it. She'd never heard of it. Nobody's ever heard of it. It's called Tyson's Run. This is about an autistic kid who gets picked on when he finally goes to normal school, so he decides he wants to run a marathon because it helps him, I guess, clear his head, and he wants to go down as he could beat the best runners on a particular day. It's actually a really good story, one of those like feel-good stories that you get from like Lifetime Channel original movies and stuff like that, but it will give you all the feels. You'll get all the emotions. It's just a shame that the actors weren't good. The script wasn't that good. The direction wasn't that good. The story was great. So, 2 stars.
I gave it 1 star because it just wasn't enough. For as good of a story as it was, it made me not really care about it, which is never a good thing.
True. Okay, here's where we're going to diverge a little bit. If you've watched one of these episodes before, you know that we host a podcast called Does It Hold Up? Link in the description. Come listen to it. I think you're going to have a good time. Shameless self-plug. But we have to watch movies for the podcast that she's never seen. Because the whole point is to talk about if they hold up to today's standards. And how do you do that? By watching a movie for the first time to see if it's still good. Here are the 2 movies that we watched this month for the podcast that I'd already seen. First up was Ocean's 11 from 2001.
I really enjoyed this movie. It's obviously a heist movie. I feel like everyone knows what Ocean's 11 is by now. I gave it 3 stars for the acting and the fact that it is a kind of fun heist, but everything around it is not quite up to the hype that I was imagining Ocean's 11 being.
Yeah. Agreed. It's just George Clooney hanging out with friends. The other movie we watched for the podcast that she had never seen before was 1999's The Sixth Sense. Shame on you.
I know. I hadn't seen it. I gave this one 4 stars. I mean, how could you not? It is a very good movie. I wish there was a few more ghosts in it, or we got to the ghosts a little sooner, but that's, 2024 me talking. But I thought it was really, really well done and really well acted. So to make up the fact that he had already seen the 2 movies that we did for the podcast, he watched, number 1, Sleepy Hollow from 1999.
Okay, Tim Burton directed this folklore horror story. There just wasn't enough story for me. I think Johnny Depp was pretty good in the movie. Burton always has a unique directing style. There just wasn't enough story. It got padded out over, an hour and 47 minutes or however long this movie is, when it should have been like a 45-minute short. So it was fine, but I definitely don't think it was good as what I remember people saying it was. 2 stars.
The other one he watched to make up for my podcast views was 2018's Songbird. All Right Now?
It's a weird dual title. So the poster for the movie has All Right Now written on it. But when you're searching for the movie, it says it's called Songbird. I didn't know which title it was. So, it could be either one. It stars Kobe Smulders as a former 90s pop punk musician person. And it's like 2018 now, and she's no longer relevant, and she can't deal with the fact that she's no longer relevant, so she reapplies to university and goes back to school and makes friends with people and falls in love with the registrar office guy. I don't know. This is one of the dumbest movies I've ever watched in my entire life. It was not at all what I expected. I wanted like a cute rom-com of this shit, and it was like, hey, let's get drunk and have threesomes. Yeah. That's a thing in the movie. And it's weird. And I didn't like it. 1 star. Alright, that's it for us this month with our recap of what we watched in March. Let us know in the comments if you've seen any of these movies, if you agree with how we rated some of these movies. We'll be back again next month with another one in the series of what we watched in April. You can also check me out every single Tuesday when I do a box office roundup here on the channel. Let you know what the top 10 movies over the weekend were. And we also do new movie reviews every now and then, so make sure you subscribe to the channel so you never miss out on anything that we offer. Until we see you next time, remember, be good to yourself, be kind to others, and as always, keep watching movies.
Bye.